I see that already our next speaker is here on the main stage with us. Our next speaker will talk about why real self-care is your career superpower. Hailing from a small town, KwaZulu Natal, Tertia moved to Johannesburg to pursue her dream legal career. But her planned path took an unexpected turn when she was exposed to the world of ICT. Tertia is passionate about performance and change management, and she's also practicing certified integrative health coach. Recently, Tertia joined Massmart to drive digital transformation of the employee experience and data in the retail industry. She's taken digital transformation executive role at Massmart. Hi, Tertia, and welcome.
Hi, everybody.
I see your slides.
Fantastic. Okay,
and now everyone can see your slides. And over to you. I will be back for the Q&A part.
Great. Thank you so much. So I fundamentally agree with Richard Branson's statement that clients do not come first. Employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of the clients. But my passions are developing people, designing client experience, and digital business transformation. And I feel so blessed and fortunate to be here today with so many inspiring and exemplary women. By now, it's a well-known and proven fact that women leaders at all levels of an organization bring distinct qualities and benefits to every organization. More diverse problem solving, increased organizational collaboration, more employee engagement and development. And obviously, women tend to give a more frequent praise and create more jobs for women and encouraging employee progression. Not only do women bring exceptional soft skills and related benefits, but women also boost profits. The Peterson Institute for International Economics completed a survey of over 20,000 firms from almost 100 countries and found some really interesting benefits. A profitable firm at which 30% of leaders are women could expect to add more than a 1 percentage point increase to its net margin compared to a firm that doesn't have any female leaders. And by way of comparison, the typical profitable firm in the sample had a net profit margin of 6.4%. So 1 percentage point increase represents a 15% boost in profitability, which is significant. Over the course of these awards, we have some really amazing women that are sharing so many learnings that exemplify and underpin what we are told as women to do to boost our careers. These women provide examples of how to promote yourself ethically, how to negotiate, how to take on new challenges, initiatives, and build networks and capabilities, project confidence, and build personal brands. But I have to admit that the last couple of weeks, I have developed a bit of an obsession that has nothing to do directly related to careers or business roles. And that obsession is sleeping bees. Almost 90% of wild plants and 75% of leading global crops depend on animal pollination. And 1 out of every 3 mouthfuls of our food depends on a pollinator. And crops that depend on pollination are 5 times more valuable than those that do not. And it reminds me of women in so many ways. Women continue to bear a heavier burden when it comes to balancing work and a family, despite progress made in recent decades to bring about gender equality in the workplace. In 2013, a Pew Research Center survey found that among parents with at least some work experience, mothers with children under the age of 18 were about 3 times as likely as fathers to say that being a working parent made it harder for them to advance in their job. I have 4 kids. I manage several of my own businesses and have a full-time corporate career. My obsession with sleeping bees is certainly not because they're cute and the flowers are pretty. I've had a deep sense of a need for self-care as the pressures of life and everything that's happening in the world at the moment mounts, and it depletes us as we go through the year. The World Health Organization defines self-care as the ability of individuals or families and communities to promote health, prevent disease, and maintain health to cope with illness and disability, with or without the support of our healthcare providers. So let's have a look at our bodies and health. Your brain represents 2% of your body weight, but consumes 20% of your energy. 2/3 is used to help neurons or nerve cell fire and send signals, which actually equates to about 320 calories daily. And that's just to think. The remainder of the energy is actually used for cell health maintenance. But if you were hoping to think yourself slim, I've got bad news. While the brain burns a lot of energy, any changes in the brain activity and energy used during a tough mental task are actually very small. Maybe a 5% change against the backdrop of all brain activity. So even if you were to keep your brain immersed in difficult mental pursuits all day long, this 5% change wouldn't add up to much. Calorie-wise, it will be very modest. So you would just expend more energy pacing back and forth than actually having some intense thoughts. But the bulk of your brain's energy consumption is put towards sustaining your alertness, monitoring your environment for important information, and managing other intrinsic activities. So in terms of its energy demands, an individual thought is cheap, but the machinery, the underlying function of the brain that makes that thought cheap is very expensive. So if you were doing something really demanding that uses multiple senses, like learning to play an instrument, that may get as high as 200 calories per day. But that would be if you were playing an instrument for 8 hours at a time. The second part of our health that is really important is our gut. Our gut takes up to about 15% of energy just digesting the stuff that we swallow. It's also referred to as our second brain or our enteric nervous system. And the reason for this is that there are two thin layers of more than 100 million nerve cells that line your gastrointestinal tract. And what's really important about this is that our two brains, our enteric nerve brain and our normal brain, actually talk to each other. And gut bacteria that manufactures about 95% of the body's supply of serotonin. And serotonin is a very important hormone in our body that supports feelings of happiness and satisfaction and positive mental health. And your gut contains 500 million neurons, which are connected to your brain, and only about 80% of communication goes from your gut to your brain and only 20% goes back. So it sheds an entire different light on the impact of your gut and what you eat on your mental health. And we don't have enough time today to even talk about how all of that impacts your hormonal health and your endocrine system and how that is connected to physical mental health. But I think it demonstrates the point already. And then, of course, when we get to stress is a very interesting concept. We know that according to Yerkes-Dodson law, performance increases with physiological or mental stress, but only up to a point. When the level of stress becomes so high, our performance actually decreases. So learning how to tune our bodies, tune into our bodies and minds to manage the stress for overall performance is really an art that we simply have to master, not only for our ability to show up mentally physically at work, but also for our longevity and our physical health. So I want to show you some health stats. I don't know what you think about these, but I found them quite shocking. So 15% of people men aged over 18 are either in fair or poor health. Almost 42% aged over 20 are obese, and 45% aged 20 and over actually have hypertension. And the leading causes of death are heart disease, cancer, and stroke. And less than 50% of men aged 18 and over meet physical activity guidelines for aerobic activity through leisure activities. I think these are quite shocking and scary statistics. Would it scare you even more if I said to you these are not men's health stats? These are actually women's health stats. So irrespective of age or the decade of your life, there are really a couple of self-care activities that will sustain you through life to bring that is really important because it underpins all the value that we bring to business as women. Remember, we said we bring in all those benefits around the employee engagement, about problem solving. But really at the heart of this starts the story about what do we do as basic self-care so that we can effectively show up in the workspace. That starts with things as simple as smart food choices to keep your gut healthy. And this is really important because we are all unique. So there's no one single diet, there's no one single principle that follows all of us. It really sits with us to see what works for us. Movement and meditation is essential and it can calm your stress response. It really is good at making sure that you are able to sit at that point of optimal stress so that you can keep on balancing everything that you're doing at work and at home. It's also important to stay mentally active. The simple exercise of driving to the shop or to work in a different route has a huge impact on the neuroplasticity of your brain, the ability of your brain to adapt to new situations and to heal itself. And of course, staying socially connected has hormonal benefits in our body. A good belly laugh with friends or family releases enough nitrous oxide in your body to actually boost your immune system for 24 hours. And then, of course, creative expression. Creative expression is the spark to all joy. So having that joy and enjoying moments in your life really has a huge impact on not only your mental health, but also on your physical health. So not only is it important about longevity in health and being sustainable or having sustainable energy to show up in the workplace, but the question I really have is, could it be an integral part to fulfilling our life purpose? So when we do all these things that we spoke about to build a dynamic career, what really fuels us? And this is where I say self-care is your superpower. Not only do we do this to promote our careers and to reap all the rewards, but we really have an impact on everyone around us. It's really, I think, important to add weight to self-care and our definition of self-care. So although I think it is absolutely important to go for the massages and the manis and the pedis and have your hair done, the real definition we need to look at is those things that we actually do for ourselves. Active self-care is the way in which you really prioritize your whole self. And so I would say real self-care is all about saying yes to yourself. And as you say yes to yourself, you say yes and prioritize all the actions and activities needed inside and outside the workplace to be dynamic in your career. So as a close, before we go into questions, I want to share this quote with you. This is a quote that really changed my entire life in terms of how I view myself, how I show up for myself, and what I prioritize. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. So what is it that you want? What is it you want? How do you want your life to be? And what are the things that you can change in your life to already feel that, to already be like that? And with that also comes a lot of patience around falling in love with taking care of yourself, making it a journey, making it a key aspect that you prioritize in your life. And when you get that right, the amazing thing is that everything else in your career starts happening for you as well. You are mentally present, you are emotionally present, you are not reactive anymore. And I can honestly say that in the times where I've really gotten my self-care right, where I've prioritized that, where I've created the disciplines and the routines, that is the times in my career that I've made the best decisions. I've negotiated the best scenarios for myself and for the company. So I think we've got a little bit of time for questions, but you can also feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, on my website, or on Instagram if you want to learn more about self-care and the things that you can really do for yourself that is unique to you and sets you up for success.
Thank you so much, Tertia. That was a beautiful presentation, both visually and in content. Thank you so much for sharing so many important things about self-care. I really loved what you say yes to yourself. So whatever feels good, whatever makes you excited, say yes, prioritize yourself, and you will see that your career also will start to flourish. You will start to feel also happier.
Yeah.
I see there is a question from Kaola. How will we know that we are having a real self-care?
That is such an excellent question. And I think, Anna, you've already kind of touched it by saying, say yes to yourself. I think it's so important. We live in a world where we constantly think that we have to work harder and we have to take away from ourselves, eat less chocolate, eat less of this. Real self-care is literally, that is the answer. If you are saying yes to yourself, or if you're adding something positive to your life that underpins that thing that you want, and it allows you to be that already. So if you want to be successful and you know that being strong and healthy and being able to show up at work with confidence, then what are the things that's going to give you that confidence? if it is eating healthy, if it is going for a run, if it is taking some time and spoiling yourself with the ability of dreaming what it is that you want to do, then that is your self-care. So self-care really is that thing that is saying yes to yourself. We are all unique. There's no single recipe that works for everybody. So think about how it is, what is it that you want to feel, what is it that you really want, and what is the thing that you can do right now to make you feel that way. And then you know you're on the right path.
What a wise answer. That's absolutely incredible. I really love that. It's like stressing that there is no one recipe that would satisfy everyone and would be a clear definition. So, what is real self care? It will be for everyone a different answer. So, you need to listen to your feelings, to your voice, and whatever feels good, feels right, and is an indicator that you're taking care of yourself. And I think another way around, when you're not taking a real care of yourself, you start to feel bad. When you even don't eat that chocolate, right? When you even do exercise in the mall. And like what you said, I think also working harder, spending longer hours at work, is it a real self-care for you?
Yeah.
Or are you following just some kind of fictional roadmap, expectations of someone else wrote somewhere, told somewhere, even no matter how experienced they are, right?
100%. And I mean, that's why I put the pictures of those bees in there. I mean, those bees are very cute and those flowers are really pretty. But when I started realizing, why am I so obsessed? I mean, I would be looking at those at least 2 or 3 times a day, and I asked myself, why am I so obsessed with this? And it's not because, I mean, bees are amazing, but it's because those little bees, those animals that we see in life as being some of the busiest, they are resting. And that was a message to me that I'm feeling tired, that I need to rest. And when I was looking at them, it inspired me and it made me feel better, and I acknowledged myself. So sometimes it's not the obvious thing. It's not what the world is saying we have to do. It's really saying, I'm really enjoying looking at these bees. What are the bees trying to tell me? And that is when you get that answer, that first answer you've got in your mind, before you ignore it and you think, oh, I have to work harder. That first answer you get, that is the answer that your body is giving you.
Beautiful. I really, really love that. Like being really in touch with your body and like reacting to what you're receiving, the signs that you're receiving from your body. That is really beautiful. Do we have time for one more question? I see people are thanking you in the comments. A very good session. That was helpful. Thank you so much. So thank you so much for tuning in, for your activity in the chat, for your kind words for Tertia. I really loved her presentation. I think there is lots of wisdom, and so needed wisdom in the times like this, right? When we are from time to time being even put in the position when we need to reconnect with our true self, and to again ask ourselves, what is that? What is a real self-care for me is. So thank you so much. I see wonderful. Thank you. I see people are thanking you. And I'm sure that many of them probably have some personal and more intimate questions that would like to ask you. So I think maybe the best way would be to connect with you on LinkedIn or whatever the channel 100%. Works for you. So, or maybe one-on-one. So definitely. Thank you so much, Tertia. Stay with us for the rest of the conference. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have fun, everybody.
Bye-bye. Absolutely, we will. Bye.